House Speaker Nancy Pelosi set to unveil a House version of the health care bill this morning. One item reportedly missing from the bill is a controversial tax on premium health care plans. It is called the Cadillac tax, and my next guest has led the fight against the tax in the House. He's Democratic Representative Joe Courtney of Connecticut. Good morning, Representative. Good to see you.
Good morning, Alexis. Great to be here.
You sent a letter to Speaker Pelosi, and you had many of your colleagues sign that letter saying this excise tax would be a tax on middle-class Americans. Explain why that is the case.
Well, the tax, as you said, is an excise tax, a pretty high one, actually 40% excise tax on health insurance premiums that were triggered, according to the Senate Finance Committee, at levels of $8,000 for individual coverage, $21,000 for family coverage. You know, that may sound like a lot, but for people who paid health insurance premiums, and I'm a pretty new member of Congress, I used to do that for my small firm that I used to own. In fact, those numbers are not that exorbitant. They are far from being Cadillacs. The Joint Committee on Taxation, in fact, estimated that this tax, over the period of time of health care reform implementation, if it goes through, would hit 31 million households in America. That is a lot more households than buy Cadillacs and drive around in Cadillacs. You know, we know that particularly in the Northeast, teachers, firefighters, older workers, because again, health insurance premiums are still going to be priced with age rating. That's still going to be part of the system if health care reform goes through. Many of those people who, again, are not what I think you would describe as, you know, the Paris Hiltons of the world would be subject to a tax. And what it would do is it would force people to change their coverage to much more high deductible types of health care, so that, you know, in the name of controlling healthcare costs, you actually are cost shifting to people to absorb a lot more of $1 for their checkups and their emergency room visits, et cetera.
The question everybody asks then, Congressman, is how are we going to raise the necessary funds? How are we going to come in below that $900 billion number if we don't do some kind of tax?
Well, again, the tax is really a revenue raiser. It's not a mechanism to control the cost of the package. The fact is that, you know, the House is going to hit a number that's below what the President set forth in September. It'll be below $900 billion. The pay for, which is part of it, is by creating more efficiencies in the Medicare system, which, you know, there's been a lot of noise and discussion about that. I think, as someone who was chairman of the Public Health Committee in Connecticut's General Assembly, that those are balanced and reasonable changes to the system. But there also is going to be a pay for with a surcharge on individuals above $500,000 and families above $1 million. The fact of the matter is that in the fall election of 2008, that really was the choice before the voters. Senator McCain, to his credit, did come out with a proposal to change the tax status of health plans. Candidate Obama vigorously opposed that in debates and television and paid media, and I think that the public, you know, really sided with that argument at the time, and really that's what our letter was focusing on with the Speaker, to remind her that really that's where the voters were in 2008, and I still strongly believe, if you look at the polling, that's where the American public is today.
You know, Congressman, you're from Connecticut, and you know that there's a lot of talk about the Senate race coming up next year and what could happen in the midterm elections. You're smiling. But it's a difficult question, because people say that health care reform, if it's passed this year, is going to be very strict against party lines, and that one group or another is going to use it to gain seats next November. Are you worried about that?
Well, again, I come from a district that is notorious for close elections. I won by 83 votes in 2006, so you know, I've been through some pretty tough races, and there's no question that this is going to be a front and center issue. Personally, I feel that if this effort collapses, that there will be more of a backlash, blowback against the controlling party that failed to get an agenda accomplished, but also it matters how it comes out, and that's why I felt so strongly about this issue of taxing health benefits, that I organized this letter to the Speaker, because I believe that if people see that at the end of the day, that they're going to say, wait a minute, that's not really what we had you know, registered with our votes in 2008. You know, the Senate right now, we don't know where they are on this issue, and it's going to be, in my prediction would be that it's going to be a conference issue that we're going to have to grind away at. But the good news is, in terms of the House side, it's not going to be part of the package.
All right. Well, Congressman Joe Courtney, first-time home buyer tax credit. I know you've been supporting it for a long time.
The realtors out there should feel good. It's coming.
All right,
so,
Congressman. Thank you very much. All right.